Welcome to a podcast of total terror. Night of the Nerdy Laser.
Welcome, everybody, to Night of the Nerdy Laser, episode 170. I am your host, as always, Richard Frankenstein's Monster Yule. And if you're watching the video, you know that is not Jeff Lown next to me. That is our guest for tonight, Mr. Sal from Rush Collectibles. What's going on, Sal?
What's going on, man? I'm good. Working hard.
Yes.
Very hard.
Yeah, lots of things going on. I noticed in our in some of our past texting and stuff, it was a year ago we were talking about the Frankenstein's monster, and around Halloween this year, you released Nosferatu, and then the pre-order for Nosferatu, but then you kind of shocked everybody and did this Kickstarter for all four. So we'll get to all that. But I guess I'd like to ask just if you'll just tell people what Rush Collectibles is and how it got started if they missed last episode.
So, as the bio reads on my Instagram, a small independent toy company located in New York City, pretty much dealing with retro style action figures and some licenses. So we actually maybe like 6 months after we were on the show with you, we wound up getting the license for Winnie the Pooh, the horror movie, which actually did pretty well for us. I mean, I don't know if this is going to be on YouTube. I forget, but we have this.
That's awesome
here for the actual figure.
Is it going to move and stuff? Do the legs move, or is it just static?
So it has the same articulation as the retros.
Okay.
But it's more in the vein of like the Trick or Treat Studios action figures and old school McFarlane figures.
I got you.
So it has 1, 2, 3, 4 points of articulation, but it does come with a mallet that he uses to smash them heads. And it does come with a severed head that you can theoretically stick it in here, but once they get it out, it's hard to get it back in without probably damaging it because it's a sample. But
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we acquired that in terms of licenses, so that was pretty awesome, and it served.
Is that just a pre-order, or will you have some?
So no, this was a pre-order. We're gonna have some in stock when we get this in hand. I'm also talking with some actual physical stores like Hot Topic and
that'd be good.
Spencer's. So there's an opportunity there, and I'm the only one who has the license. But yeah, so we're a toy company. We do toys, licensed toys, and non-licensed toys, wrestling action figures, which is where we got our start. And and things have in the beginning of the year was a little slow for us, but we'll get into that. But now things are really ramping up, and we're going to talk about some stuff. So, but yeah, it's we're a toy company.
Yeah, well, and it's cool because I mean, I like the fact that you're starting to venture into other stuff. I mean, I like wrestling figures as much as the next person, but there's so many of those, and Zombie Sailors kind of got, I mean, a big chunk of that market. I feel anyway, as far as producing, because there's some companies out there that, they like, I mean, I don't know what's up with Power Town, but they're kind of weird to me. But I like you because you're transparent and you keep open communication to people, where some companies don't necessarily do that, I feel.
Yeah, I mean, for us, we had, I don't think it's any secret if anybody does a Google search on us, we did have an issue with our figures in the past, which was a factory related issue.
Yeah.
And since then, what led to where we are right now is we talked about the Frankenstein last year, and we did a pre-order for it last year. We had found a new factory, and it took us a little while, but you can't just go straight into toy production, right, and put everything on them because you don't know how that factory works, right? So we wound up taking the last figure of our wave one that we had to make anyway because it was part of wave one of our wrestling figures, and we gave that to the factory as a test so that we can make sure that this factory was on par, right?
Yeah.
I gave them that, and I don't even have one over here; it's somewhere. But the French Angel action figure in the wrestling world, and they did pretty well with it. They did pretty decent with it, and it gave me the confidence to say, all right, then this is the factory to go with. They actually do. I'll just say Funko. They do Funko figures, and they do
Oh,
Funko Pops, and they do a lot of stuff. It's not a small factory. Um, but now we're actually getting to the point where now we can start ramping all that stuff up. Now that I know that the factory is good and they can do exactly what I want them to do, so we're actually in production for Chris Van Vliet, and
oh yeah.
this is the actual figure, but um, it's just not painted. So this is the actual plastic figure. It comes with the little microphone that we put in his hand. And we span this off into a Donald Trump action figure, which is kind of stupid and fun all at the same
I
time.
wish I would have got that. I was still kicking myself. But I like that you did the bloody ear variant.
But
That's pretty funny.
it did really well for us. And the thing we have about our new figures is that originally we had seams on the side, which was causing the issue
Yeah.
that we had. Now these figures have no seams at all. So
That's
now
good.
those issues are completely gone. So now it's a new day for Rush. It's a new day for our product. The quality is much better, and it's a thicker plastic as well. And yeah, so now we have, going back to the Frankenstein from a year ago, now we can put that into production, and we're waiting on some samples from the factory, some plastic samples, which I'm
Yeah.
extremely excited about because. So I don't know if you've seen on our Instagram, and anybody who listens to this, check out our Instagram at Rush Collectibles. We have a photo of the Frankenstein 3D printed figure that they utilized to make the bubble impression
Yeah.
and the packaging in
Hmm.
all together. And when the factory first sent me that, I almost had tears in my eyes because it's so freaking cool finally seeing it together. It's not like a wrestling figure when it's like, all right, like Chris Van Vliet, let's just say, or something like that, where it's like, all right, the figures, I got the figure, I got the packaging put together, all right, great. But when you see something that you made and it was your idea from the beginning, and you were really the first one to do it, and now it's finally coming to fruition. Um, it's really and it's really an amazing, in my opinion, like an accomplishment. So I mean, I almost had tears in my eyes looking at that thing because it's so beautiful. Just like the packaging's gorgeous. There's a comic strip on the back that tells the
Yeah. It's
story
awesome.
of our
Yeah.
Frankenstein. And I actually fixed the figure to where he's more beefy. And I fixed his hands. I gave him more details. This thing's gonna have so much detail that I don't think there's gonna be a retro. It's now it's a horror and there's wrestling, right? I'm trying to meet the two together and bring them together. And there's a very good chance I'm going to be the first to have it to market. So,
That'll be
um,
cool.
yeah, out of anybody who's trying to do something like this.
Yeah.
So to see it go from an idea, a drawing that I did a year and a half ago, and now it's about to hit physical product. It's just amazing because of the fact that nobody was doing it. Nobody even had the inclination to say, all right, this is something that we should try to do. And I was really the first to do it. And now to see it, it's it's beautiful. It's just absolutely beautiful. And I can't wait to get them in hand so that everybody gets their figures, because I think once people see the Frankenstein, fully painted, fully injected in the correct color, and the chains. It's gonna have like metal chains, bro,
Oh,
like
that's
actual metal chains.
they will be metal. That's great.
Well, not metal, but like they're gonna be like that hard plastic
Oh
with the
yeah, yeah.
metal sheen on them,
I got you.
like you would get on a keychain.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and he's gonna have it on both hands. He's gonna have it around the waist. It's gonna look like he just snapped him off the wall.
That's cool.
I'm so excited because it's something new and fresh, and it's something that I've been thinking about doing for years. Now that I'm finally seeing it, it's just so awesome, and I can't wait for everybody to get theirs, because I think once they get that, or they see the actual working physical sample, I think everybody's going to jump into them based on what we're doing now with Nosferatu. And like I said, now I have that factory. Now I know what's going on. Now I can get that factory going on full throttle. Nosferatu's already been put into production, so
Oh,
I already paid for the molds. So what that means is once you pay for the molds, they can do a physical sample, which once you approve the physical sample, you can go right into production. So that's where that stands right now. But Frankenstein's already into production. So and when it comes down to the Kickstarter that we announced maybe like a week ago, not even, that we put up last weekend, it's doing pretty well for the time period that it's been up. But in that Kickstarter, we're actually offering Cthulhu, which my personal favorite looking figure.
it's
And
huge. I mean, it's huge. I don't know about height wise. What about height wise? Is it any bigger than the other ones? I mean, I
it's
know it's got wings, so it's wider,
so
obviously.
so if you compare, I don't have the sample on me, but if you compare it to this figure, this is 4.5 inches.
Yeah.
The figure's around 5 inches,
Okay.
and the wingspan is around 5 inches.
Jeez.
So it's a nice little chunky, massive figure.
Yeah.
And it has the tentacles that come down out of its mouth. And then we're also adding, for the first time in anything that we've done, is we're calling it the Rush Creature. We can't utilize the creature name, just
Yeah.
Creature of the Black Lagoon, but this is the Rush Creature, and it's based on a piranha. So like, the teeth come out, and he has like this big eyes, and he has the gills on the neck, and he has the claws, and he has like
Yeah. It looks cool.
and so yeah, so that's what we're offering in our Kickstarter, and those are Kickstarter exclusives. The goal we're trying to hit for these two figures anyway is $10,000, so that we can pay for the molds and the production of the two new figures. The other two figures that are in the line that we're offering in the Kickstarter, which is Frankenstein and Nosferatu, the molds are already been paid for, which means the production's already about to be paid for. So those are all coming. Those two figures are coming. I
Yeah.
want to do is you see a lot of these people when they do figures, right? It's like one figure, and then 6 months later another figure,
Yeah.
or another figure. I want to get them out to everybody as fast as I possibly can, and I want to get as many of them as I can. So in doing the Kickstarter, the goal is to get those two guys out as well at the same time. So it'll be
That'd be
four
awesome.
figures coming out. But if we hit our stretch goals in the Kickstarter, which one is $20,000 and another is $30,000, on the $20,000 goal, everybody's going to get a free Wolfman. If we hit that $20,000 goal,
I want that so bad.
everybody's going to get a Wolfman. And there's a reason why I black it out on the website, is because there are some updates that were done to it, and I want it to be a surprise if we hit the goal.
No, that's cool. I like the fact that it's blacked out. Also, you have that 30,000, which is sweet too.
And then we have a 30,000, which if we hit that goal, everybody's going to get a free Van Helsing action figure. You need the hero, and you can't just have all monsters. You need the guy or gal who is the
battles them.
protector. You need the hero in this line. And then we haven't made the announcement, but if we hit that $30,000 goal, I have one more stretch goal of 40,000, and if I can hit 40,000, The goal is to do a headless horseman with an actual retro style horse.
Jeez, that would be crazy.
So I didn't put it. There's no images of it yet. There's the reason is because I want us. I want if I want to hit at least that $20,000 goal, and then
Yeah.
drop it and say, look, guys, if you get us to this, you're going to get this as like a surprise, and that'll come absolutely free if we hit the $40,000 goal.
Well, I backed it just because I mean I love this line,
Thank you.
and yeah, and no, I mean I love it. I mean I pre-ordered the Frankenstein last year too, so I get two. So, but I love the fact that, well, the packaging is gorgeous. I mean, you did the packaging and it's great. I love the comics style on the back and just everything about it. But I think what people should know is it. Um, so I don't know how you explain this because I was like, I don't even understand it. But so explain the packaging of like you don't ruin the package taking out the figure.
Yeah. So and we're not the first to do this sort of thing. There are other people doing this, and but the bubbles that these come on, they're not clamshells, and they're not stuck to the packaging. One thing I always hated as a kid. Now I'm a graphic designer by trade. So one thing I hated as a kid was taking the Ninja Turtles off of the packaging and ripping it off, and you ruin me as an
Yeah,
artist. I ruined that awesome freaking artwork.
I know.
I always loved the card backs of the turtles, and this is where it's kind of like the inspiration for what I'm doing with these figures,
Yeah, I
um,
can see that.
in a sense. But I always hated that. When you rip it off, you rip the bottom character on the side. So there were always two characters on the top. There was a character on the bottom, and there was another character right here. And then when you pull off the card, you always rip those two characters
Yeah,
on the bottom. So I was like, God. So we're utilizing something of a bubble, but it's a slide. So you're able
yeah.
to. I'm trying to see if I have any with me. Give me a sec. I
So
might.
it's like the cardboard is separate from the plastic shell. So you slide the plastic shell and the figure back onto the cardboard.
Yeah, so you're able to take the actual physical card, which this is a
Yeah,
Chris Van Vliet, and you're able to slide it into the plastic bubble so that now not only are you able to keep the awesome artwork that I did and maybe have me sign it in the future, I don't know. But you also get to keep these things pristine and not only enjoy the figures, but also enjoy everything about it and not ruin it. And you get to keep it and store it. So we offer that as our new packaging, which we did with our French Angel action figure, and it worked out really well. Everybody loved the whole slide concept of it, and in doing that and keeping it that way. So that's my plan, and it allows me to kind of keep quality control from a U.S. perspective and give everybody the best figures I possibly can.
yeah.
Yeah, and then uh, in the Kickstarter, we mentioned that every one of these monsters are going to come with a trading card and a poster.
It's fun.
Yeah, and they're going to come inside the packaging, so they're going to be placed
Oh,
behind the
cool.
rest of the figure. And it's just I want to give as much free stuff as I possibly can, and I like to give for the cheapest price I possibly can.
Yeah,
Um, like these figures aren't going to break your bank. You're not looking at like $50, $60, or they're $30 each. And for the
yeah.
amount of detail, I think when people see it, people are gonna go bananas.
Well, I can't even buy a T-shirt for $30 anymore. So to get, most action figures are in the store are 25, 20, 25, depending. But then you're when you're dealing with a company like yours, where you can't do this mass production, where half of them end up in Ross or something anyway, or
Right.
Ollie's. Um, you got to do what you got to do. So I appreciate the pre-ordering thing it is a little frustrating, but I get it. So I mean, it's just part of the deal. And but I think the Kickstarter is a great idea, and I'm really hoping it takes off and the at least the four get greenlit. So hopefully, you're out there and you look at these. I was gonna have all the pictures and I didn't have time and for the video, but we'll put them out on Night of the Nerdy Laser, Instagram and Facebook, and then Rush Collectibles on Instagram, right?
Yep. Yeah. So it's Rush Collectibles on Instagram. You can also look up Rush Monster Masters. And my
Oh
dog
yeah, it's
is
got its
growling in
own
the
social
background. So
media.
hold on. My dog is growling. But Rush Monster Masters.
These pets, man. I got cat problems. You got dog problems. Whoa, that's a fierce little dog.
She's so mean. She's
Oh
so
no,
mean.
I know we're pet friendly on this podcast, so it's all good. But no, I think I even let's see. So I think I got the plum Chris Van Vliet you got on there, which if people don't know, he's a really good wrestling interviewer. Basically, he's a really good interviewer, but he basically just does wrestling right now. And you don't even really have to watch wrestling to enjoy his interviews. He's a really good interviewer guy. And so I picked him up because I missed the pre-order for the blue suit. But I think he's cool because he can interview the monsters. I think it's kind of cool that that you can interact with other things. Um, and you've also got, if people remember the old Nintendo game, Pro Wrestling, you've also got that going, right?
So we have the license for the game. It's actually not owned by Nintendo. I think people just assumed because it was on Nintendo, it's
Yeah.
owned by Nintendo. It's not. It's a, Nintendo just distributed the game under the label. But we have the license for the game, but it's more of a touch and feel license. Really when I reach out and see if I can get things approved.
Yeah.
So in the past we've gotten these little guys approved, these little 3-inch figures, like the micro brawlers from Pro Wrestling
Yeah.
Tees. And I was trying for the last 2.5 years to try to get them to do something in the retro world. And every time I'd show them something, they'd just be like, "No, it's not. It doesn't fit into our brand." And I used to say, "But I used to say, how is this on brand, but the other one isn't?" And what I realized is, working in licensing my whole entire career, I 18 years in licensing. What I've found out and realized is when I tried to submit to them that big rubber looking wrestler that I showed a couple of weeks back for approval, they had said something to me that made something click. And I'll say it here. One of the things was they were like, "Well, are their legs going to be all the same?" And it made something click that maybe the issue is that the reason why they have concerns of not approving the retros was because of the fact that the figures don't look like the video game characters where they're all the same. So when I re-showed them the retros to say, "Hey, look, maybe we can take a second look at these," I gave them all the same body, just a different head, and they go, "Oh, these work now." And
Really?
I found the key to
That's hilarious, dude.
getting it approved, and that they just wanted, and when you're dealing with a company overseas, there's a language barrier, and there's maybe miscommunication, but it would have been nice if they would have just said, "Can you make the bodies all the same?"
Yeah.
But that's why I think they approved these, because theoretically it's the same figure with a different head.
Oh, yeah.
It's literally the same exact thing with a different head, right? So
Yeah, makes sense.
I showed them the retros and they were like, "Oh, these work for what we need to do." And I was like, "Well, can I sell them?" And they were like, "Yeah, go ahead." And so they gave me the okay, and now those we put up for pre-order because they come with multiple heads. It's the same body with different heads. The mold's taking a little longer than I anticipated.
Yeah.
So, but once I get those samples, I think people are going to really go crazy for those because it's something that nobody's seen ever. So
Yeah.
And so I was telling somebody this the other day, right? Like I was like, at some point, at least in the wrestling world, right? We're all going to be doing the same wrestlers just over and over and over and over.
That's kind of what's
It's
happening
already
right now.
happening, right?
Yeah.
And there's so many of these little companies now that nobody has the ability, I think, to think outside the box. Everybody's just thinking on a level of how can I make as much money as I possibly can with the biggest name or names I can get, right? And for me, if you look at my line from the very beginning, that was never like my MO, right? Like nobody was thinking of Roadblock for the WCW giant jobber, like
Yeah.
I want to do the guys that nobody
Oh,
would even
Brian
touch.
Breaker. My friend Brian Breaker was thinking about that.
Yeah, I mean, Brian and I have become
Yeah,
really,
he's a
really
good.
good friends, and
Yeah.
Brian's an
Well,
awesome dude.
he's how I even discovered you.
I
Like, I
remember,
mean,
yeah.
I'd never really heard of Rush, and then he interviewed you a few times, and that's how I figured it out. But yeah, Brian over at TB Toycast and Saturday Morning Rumble Wheel.
Yep.
Shout out to him. But yeah, that is not well. Even Chris Van Vliet, like I mean, nobody, and honestly, he's way bigger now than he was when you signed him. Probably, I mean,
So going back to what you said, he actually has, in terms of wrestling podcasts, I think he just hit number one.
yes, he did. Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, the past 6 months, he's just, I mean, since like before WrestleMania, I've been listening to him for like a year or so, maybe a little bit more than a year, and but I mean, he's number one right now. He was number two for a while behind Undertaker's, and now he's number one. So yeah, it's crazy because he interviews really cool people and cool wrestlers, a lot of WWE guys, but not just WWE, but that's a lot of
well,
them.
yeah. I mean, and he doesn't just do wrestlers either. He has a very extensive
That's true.
library of celebrities, major celebrities. Like we all know how many. He always says, "I've interviewed The Rock 8 times." So, so yeah. I mean, approaching Chris to do the figure it was a smart strategic move. If Chris listens to this, like, bring me on the show. And
That would
interview
help.
me would help a lot.
Yeah.
And but yeah, I mean, we had some, like I told you with the factory where I wanted to test the French Angel first before I went into any production because I didn't know how the factory was going to do.
Yeah.
So there was an issue where I was kind of cold on any information to Chris for a while because I didn't have anything, and I was testing the factory. But now that I told him, I said, look, I need to test this factory first. Once I do, we'll jump straight into yours. Yours is the next figure anyway. And so we had a talk, and I was like, look, you got to just see it from my perspective, and I'm not here to screw anybody. I'm a man of my word. When I say something's coming, if it takes a little longer, it'll take a little longer, but it's coming, right? So I told him, I said, look, it's going to come out this year. By the end of the year, I swear to you, you will have it. You just got to give me a little time to test this factory. And if you've seen the photos online, the painted samples look fantastic, bro.
Yeah, they look
They look
really good.
really, really good. And I was expecting them to look good, but they were like, Fig Heel even said to me, he goes, I wasn't going to buy this figure because I'm like, why do I need it? And he goes, and then I realized this thing looks just like him. Like literally that
Yeah,
face sculpt looks just like him.
that's great.
And I said, I was like, thank you, for the compliment. Cause I sculpt all my own figures. I don't hire a sculptor. I sculpted all myself. And, that was a compliment that I kind of needed. I'm not going to lie, in a boost in my wanting to continue on with this business, because I mean, I think everybody knows I've been trashed to Kingdom Come because me and a certain person don't like each other, you know. But that has nothing to do with my business or anybody else's,
Yeah.
or the capabilities that I have or my business has. And now that I'm at a certain stage and now things are starting to roll, I think people are starting to realize and see like, oh, he wasn't lying. He said the figure was coming and it's coming, or he said the Trump was going to come quicker than anybody expected and it should be here by Friday, pretty much.
Yeah.
Um,
Crazy.
yeah, that one's coming quick, because what was great about it is I was able to take the remaining Chris Van Vliet bodies that I had, and I was able to add a head to the mold, and it allowed me to split Chris's order into Chris and Trump. So it's the same body, but everybody does that same thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
no, I mean, that's not uncommon at all.
No. But that Trump really was that boost of confidence, which is the word I was looking for before, that I needed in order to really keep this business rolling and jumping. And that Donald Trump did so well for me that it was huge. It was huge. And it's allowing me to really expand things and maybe do things that I wouldn't have been able to do before. And I mean, I think people are going to be pleasantly surprised in the future when they start getting stuff from me. And I think the tide's going to turn, because it's already turning. And I think people are going to realize that, yeah, maybe these figures we slept on these figures, and there's some of the cooler figures on the market.
Yeah, for sure, man. I do. Before we get off here, I want to ask you about something I saw on the website, and it's a
I know
Mr.
what you're going to
Perfect.
say. Hold on,
This is a
let me get
Mr.
one.
Perfect
I gotta
terry
get
cloth. And like, so if you don't know or didn't watch wrestling, Mr. Perfect was a wrestler, a great wrestler, and he had a towel with him. He'd bring to the ring, like a small hand towel kind of thing, and he'd throw it behind his back and blah 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 and all that. Well, he never had an accessory or anything, but now thanks to Rush, we have the. I mean, how did you do it as a joke? Did you?
No.
I mean,
So what happened was, our French Angel has variant versions, and there's a version with a towel that I did, because in one of his photos he has a towel around his neck where he's trying to stop the sweat from going down to the rest of his body. So I reached out to the factory and I said, would you be able to produce something similar? And so they wound up making these little towels, and there's a little like glue on the edge here, so that you can just pop it over the head of the French Angel.
oh,
But you need a minimum quantity, right, in order to make these things.
oh,
So I have about 200 of them left over. So I said these would be fantastic for Perfect. Like, he didn't come with anything,
no,
and you don't really see anything on the market. And I was like, I have these already, and instead of them just sitting in my closet, I was like, maybe people would want these. Like, I don't need them all. And so I have these little towels that I use for the French Angel, that we developed for the French Angel, and they're actually really, like, whatever they made this material out of, it's like legit terry, so it feels like a real towel.
dang,
Like,
that's cool.
I didn't cut these myself. I did not glue these myself. These are made in a China factory.
You didn't buy like a big white towel and cut it into
No,
squares.
I didn't do that. I didn't go to the dollar store and I was like, let's just. But yeah, that's why there's a little gap here, is because it's meant for the French Angel head.
I got
But
you.
you could just slip your Mr. Perfect fist right in here.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
Do.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Are people getting it? I mean, are people getting it off the site?
So yeah, I mean, I listed it as sold out because I only have like a handful left now.
Oh,
And you know, it's like I have 2 here, and then I have a little baggie of them right here left over.
Oh,
So yeah, I mean, technically they're sold out. I don't know if I'm going to sell these on the website. I haven't decided, but if I'm going to sell the rest of them, but I marked them as sold out just so people can kind of like stop bothering me about it. You know? Like, guys, it's a fucking towel. What's wrong with you? You know?
that's funny.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, Kickstarter's real easy. You can go to Kickstarter, you can put in a search engine, just Rush Monster Masters, and you come up first thing. Also, I'll put it in our notes, so if you're lazy, you can just click it. Yeah, see, even Chris Van Vliet needs a towel.
Everybody needs a wipe down every now and then.
But go ahead and promote what you need to
Yeah.
everybody before we get off here.
So rushfigures.com is our website where you can go and purchase some of these awesome new figures we have. We're doing a Kickstarter for the Monster Masters. Just go to Kickstarter, like Rich said here, and you know, go to Kickstarter, type in Rush Monster Masters action figures, and support us there. You know, tons of free incentives, and if we hit our stretch goals, I want to give everybody free stuff. Like, I've been trying to give people free figures for a while now, man. I did the pro wrestling figures, and I said, guys, if we sell 300 units, I'll give you a free figure. We didn't hit 300 units. Like, I'm trying to give you guys free figures, guys, free figures. No one else is trying.
That's true.
So the Kickstarter, our website, and then follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Rush Collectibles. I give away free figures, guys. Help me out here.
You need to make a commercial and be like, "'Cause we're crazy," like this. Like those car commercials
from Family Guy. Yeah, we got action figures, and they're free.
If this line does continue, you need to do like a Bigfoot, and then you could just do a Yeti from that. And
all right, so I'll give you guys a preview of what I'm thinking for the next wave, right? So, like I said, if we hit, let's say, the $40,000 stretch goal, and the Headless Horseman is in there, that would be the full wave one. That'll be the full wave one.
It's massive.
Yeah, which it's not even a money issue, guys. I want to see these in real time. You know what I'm saying? There's a reason why I got so excited about those Frankenstein images when I showed you guys and showed you, because it's so freaking awesome and different and just fresh, you know? And I'm a massive horror fan, and I love the old school Universal monster movies. And I want to see this come to life, you know, not just for me, but for everybody. And if this is successful and we get all these 6 figures out at once, right? Yeah, 4, 5, 6, 7 figures if we hit our $40,000 goal. Wave 2, just to give you guys some ideas, there's going to be a Dracula in the line. There's going to be a mummy in the line. There's going to be an actual wolf man in the line.
Okay.
And, you know, there might be a variant Frankenstein in the line, you know?
Yeah.
I don't want to just keep it to like one thing and then, you know, do all the characters. Maybe there's another version, you know? And I also have an idea where it's a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde that comes with multiple arms and multiple heads. So it looks like, if you want to put him together, you can make it look like he's starting to de-change and then change back into the monster.
Oh, that's cool.
So that's another thing that I have for wave 2. So, but we gotta get past wave 1 first, right?
Yeah.
And so, like, you know, like the idea with like that Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde is that you could pop out the head, put on the head where he looks human, so it looks like he's starting to devolve, and then pop in a smaller arm, so it's like a big arm and a small arm.
Yeah.
You know? But that would be wave 2. So just to give you guys some excitement for what could be coming down the line. But like I was telling Rich, go to rushfigures.com, go to our Instagram and Rush Collectibles, and check out the Kickstarter at Rush Monster Masters Action Figures.
Yeah, support the Kickstarter. It's got a long way to go, but you got plenty of time.
Yeah.
I know you've got some pre-orders on the website. Will those be going through Christmas, or what's the timeline on those pre-orders?
So when it comes down to the monsters, I completely took them off the website.
Oh, okay.
So those pre-orders they're done. The
They're
only way to
done.
get it is to get it in the Kickstarter now.
Kickstarter. Okay.
But those pre-orders still stand. So the
Yeah.
Nosferatu and the Frankenstein, like I said, they're already in production. So either way, those are coming. When it comes down to Chris Van Vliet, I put them back up on the website in the Plum version. He'll be here next week. You'll get it before Christmas, and the same thing with Trump. Maybe I might have one or two left over. We can talk. And then the pro wrestling guys, we're looking at 2025. At least the first two figures in the Monster Masters line, if the Kickstarter isn't successful, second quarter of 2025. Oh, and then the Winnie the Pooh, we're looking at early second quarter of 2025.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds great, Sal. Thanks for coming on and talking about that. I really appreciate it, buddy. I'm excited about the Monster Masters, especially, but I love all the other stuff, and I'll probably start getting everything before too long. Everything that you put up. So, I just really like it, and I wish y'all the success. And everybody else, you can follow Night of the Nerdy Laser on Instagram and Facebook. And until next time, keep it bloody because somebody has to.